Yo Brollies, 2 weeks ago I shared with you my review of the Nothing Ear 1, which I honestly feel like is a really good value for what it's worth and not just all about the looks. And today, thanks to our friends from Digital Walker, we're taking a look at its companion, the long-awaited Nothing Phone 1. The question is, do I feel the same about this phone, or is it really just an overly hyped product from a relatively new company just to get a piece of the pie? Well, the short answer is yes, but with a few asterisks. Here, let me share with you all my thoughts about the new Nothing Phone 1. Let's get into it. By the way, I'm giving away a Nothing Ear 1 to one of you guys, so make sure to watch the entire video. So right off the unboxing experience, you will certainly feel the extra level of attention to detail the Nothing brand is putting into their product. This is one of the most unique packaging that I've ever unboxed, with one of the thinnest packaging ever for a smartphone. The downside is that it doesn't come with a power brick. Instead, inside the box, we just have the Nothing Phone 1 itself and an accessory box that houses the equally unique SIM ejector pin, the safety and warranty guide, and a USB Type-C charging cable. At first look and touch, having been using the iPhone 13 Pro Max as my daily driver, I feel at home with the form factor of the Nothing Phone 1, which is oddly similar. In front, we have the 6.55-inch 2400 by 1080 OLED display with 402 pixels per inch density, 500 nits of brightness, and features up to 120Hz refresh rate. It's not LTPO though, so it just switches between either 60 or 120Hz. What I like about this are the bezels. While they are not the thinnest, I appreciate that they are symmetrical, making for a cleaner look. We also have here in front the 16-megapixel selfie camera with the Sony IMX471 sensor and the earpiece hidden on the edge. We also have an in-display fingerprint reader here that works pretty well. Flipping it on the left side, we have 2 antenna lines and 2 individual volume buttons. On the other side, we have another antenna line and a power button. Up top, we have yet another 2 antenna lines and the secondary microphone, and at the bottom, we have the speaker, another 2 antenna lines, the USB Type-C port, the primary microphone, and the SIM card tray that supports dual nano SIM cards. No micro SD card slot, unfortunately. Now, turning it all over at the back, this is where the Nothing Phone 1 sets itself apart from the rest of the vastly available smartphones out in the market. Granted, it is not the first time we saw a bare naked or see-through smartphone, but this is definitely the cleanest looking one with the utmost attention to detail ever. Not to mention the undeniably unique LED linings that double as notification LEDs, also known as the GLYPHS. This makes the Nothing Phone 1 not just the coolest looking phone, but also the one with the fanciest LED notification. So with just a swipe from the notification menu, you'll get access to the GLYPHS, wherein you can set different ringtones and notification sounds with the corresponding glyph lighting effect. The bottom LEDs also serves as a charging meter whenever you plug this in and as a feedback indicator for Google Assistant. Here's a quick sound test for you guys. Now, with all that being said, my honest thoughts about this is that this is almost entirely useless or gimmicky to most people, including me. Yeah, it looks cool and all, but I'd rather glance into the actual notifications and know exactly what they are instead of doing the guessing game and memorizing the lighting effects for each notification. And I feel like, as cool as it is, most people will probably outgrow this at some point in the device's lifespan. Nevertheless, I still appreciate this design language and a bold statement that not everything should look the same, and sometimes it's refreshing to see something different in a sea full of smartphones that pretty much just rides the waves and the current trend. Moving on, let's check out the rest of the phone. Still here at the back, we also have the wireless charging area that actually can reverse charge other devices such as the Nothing Ear 1 and, in emergency cases, another smartphone. It's going to be quite slow though, since it can only reverse charge at 5 watts. The glyph will also illuminate every time the reverse charging is activated. We also have a nifty recording red LED here at the back, which is a very nice touch, and the dual camera system that features 2 50-megapixel cameras, the main camera with a Sony IMX766 sensor, and the ultra-wide camera with a Samsung JN1 sensor. Less is more, right? I don't mind this at all, especially since a lot of smartphones just add a third low pixel count lens that nobody uses anyways. As for the camera quality, I'd say they are pretty decent. the images look good as you can tell, with a good dynamic range, maintaining a good balance between the highlights and the shadows, with an ample amount of contrast, sharpness, and details without unnecessary overprocessing. Focus and blur are a bit hit or miss though, depending on how the autofocus worked on a particular scene and subject, but for the most part, the images are quite sharp. You just have to be wary of the minimum focus distance of the lenses, especially if you're using the macro feature, which essentially just uses the ultra-wide lens. Speaking of the ultra-wide lens, sometimes it tends to overexpose the highlights in auto exposure, especially on the very bright part of the subject, but still tolerable in my opinion, and if you tap to expose, the image is still pretty much well exposed with just a tad darker image overall. I'm genuinely surprised by the image quality this dual camera setup provides, as I was expecting a bit worse than this, but yeah, most of these images I took indoors are usable and should definitely pass for social media postings. Some of the images I took have some blurred areas, which is the cause of slower shutter speed and wider aperture due to the low light environment. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the camera on this phone. Even the 60 megapixel selfie camera is pretty decent, with a good enough bokeh for the portrait mode, and at its default settings, the selfie camera outputs very pleasing portrait shots without over-smoothing or over-processing. Even in a backlit setting, my face is still pretty well exposed. The ultra-wide angle doubles as the macro lens, and the main camera doubles as the telephoto lens with digital zoom. As for videos, you can take 4K videos at 30fps and 60fps at 720 and 1080p resolution. And thanks to the optical image stabilization, the video output is fairly smooth, albeit with some slight stuttering. We also have a small flash here, and interestingly enough, you can also use the GLYPHS as a sort of fill light or video light, but only really works for close-up shots. And lastly, here at the back, we have a subtle Nothing logo right here. By the way, the Nothing Phone 1 is made out of glass on both sides with an aluminum frame and is relatively lightweight considering its size. Now, in terms of the user interface, the Nothing Phone 1 features the Nothing OS 1.1 based on Android 12. And on the surface, it looks like a heavily skinned Android, but to be honest, it's actually quite lightweight and doesn't have any bloatwares at all out of the box. With a swipe down on the notification area, you'll have access to the nicely laid out shortcuts, and what I like about this is the device control shortcut, allowing me to quickly toggle all my smart devices here in the studio. The settings menu is pretty straightforward. You have all the system customization and configurations, and the features that comes with the Android 12 operating system. In terms of hardware specifications, the Nothing Phone 1 features the Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G Plus processor with an Adreno 642L GPU with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. This is definitely a mid-range phone, and for the most part is quite smooth and can handle most games that I throw at it. It can run Diablo Immortal quite decently with some slight hiccups here and there, but definitely playable. Same with Call of Duty Mobile, even at maximum graphics settings and maximum frame rate. The gameplay is decent enough, and if you want, you can adjust the settings a little bit for a smoother experience. Mobile Legends is also playable with decent performance, even during clashes and ultimates. Overall, performance-wise, while it doesn't have flagship-level hardware specifications, it can still handle most day-to-day tasks, productivity, and gaming. You just have to set your expectations properly in relation to its hardware specifications and price. Before we move on, here are all the benchmarks that I did for the Nothing Phone 1 for those of you who are interested in numbers. Alright, like I said earlier, I'm giving away a Nothing Ear 1 to one of you guys, and all you have to do to join is like and share this video, of course subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your favorite feature of the Nothing Phone 1 with the hashtag NothingPhone1. Check the description below for more important information. Good luck! Now, battery life is pretty good. As per my testing using the standard PC Mark Work 3.0 battery life benchmark, it lasts around 6 hours and 36 minutes and is able to charge around 1 hour and 53 minutes. In real world, I can easily use this for an entire day without having to plug this in. And lastly, in terms of the display and speakers, while it doesn't have LTPO for that smoother transition between refresh rates and the benefits of it in terms of battery efficiency, the display quality itself is actually pretty good, especially with an OLED panel. The colors are very vibrant with more than sufficient brightness levels and deeper blacks that make the contrast pop even more compared to regular IPS displays. It also has good viewing angles, good enough sharpness and details. Rest assured that you're not going to be disappointed with the display of this phone. In addition, it also features stereo speakers, taking advantage of the earpiece as a secondary, albeit weaker speaker. The sound quality is fairly decent and good enough for casual media consumption and gaming, though I'd rather use my earphone 1 with it for an overall better listening experience. So to conclude, To answer my question earlier, yes, I honestly feel that the Nothing Phone 1 is a decent mid-range smartphone overall that is capable enough for most tasks and is definitely a daily driver material. The hype is inevitable given the unorthodox design language and a bold statement against the overly saturated, similarly looking phones out in the market. Not to mention the amount of marketing the Nothing brand has done. But aesthetics and gimmicky features aside, the Nothing Phone 1 still offers pretty competitive hardware specifications and a set of features that anyone is looking for on a mid-range smartphone and more. Granted, it doesn't have the flagship killer processor everyone is expecting, but like I said, this phone still manages to handle most day-to-day tasks. The GLYPHS is definitely a gimmicky feature that people will possibly outgrow at some point, but it is definitely a good direction towards future design innovation that veers away from the boring stuff. You cannot deny that fact. At the end of the day, it is still up to you if what this phone offers matches your preference and your budget. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Huge thanks to Digital Walker for sending this in. You can get this using the link below, and I believe the first 100 customers will get some freebies. Check their website to learn more. Again, thank you for watching, subscribe if you like this, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're awesome.